everything we do, we want to do with one thing in mind, and that's to win football games. And all the extracurricular doesn't help you win games. And it's as simple as that.
No extracurriculars, a clean first day in pads for the Broncos, but the quarterback competition is as muddy as ever.
I've seen both guys getting better. This is the best version of Drew that I've seen. I think he's really done a really good job. And then I expected Teddy to come in. Teddy has got experience. He's got experience in multiple offenses, and so what we call apple, somebody else called orange. So he said, "Oh, okay, it's orange." And so we roll. And so I think Teddy's done a good job.
Hello, and thank you for joining us here on Broncos Camp Daily. I'm Phil Milani alongside Aric DiLalla and Sidney Jones. First day in pads for the Broncos out there. Aric, what were your observations?
Well, first observation, Phil, one of the best opens you've ever had.
Thank you very much.
Great.
I have an observation, too. We're both wearing the same shirt.
Hey, that's nice.
Sidney did not get the memo.
I didn't get the memo.
No memo for Sidney. On the field, at least, Phil, as the pads went on, the run game, it really became evident to see that the offense had a nice day. Vic Fangio mentioned that after practice, some big runs from Melvin Gordon. Javonte Williams was just bouncing off people, even in the passing game. I think it was Deshaun Williams tried to grab him at one point. Javonte was gone, and then Mike Boone, too. Vic Fangio said afterward, do not sleep on Mike Boone. Likes his speed, likes his ability in all areas of the game. Said it was a pretty damn good day for the offense on the ground. If Vic said it, we can say it, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Otherwise, from a quarterback perspective.
That's what we all care about. Just get to the quarterbacks.
Not too much to report, really, today. A lot of completions for these guys, both Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock. Both made some nice throws down the field. No interceptions for either guy. And then they did a lot of kind of late game scenario stuff, how to handle certain situations. So it was kind of a wash today. No one guy took a step forward, I don't think, but just a productive practice, and again, a heavy emphasis on the run game.
Okay, all right. I also saw them doing some one-on-ones for the first time, really, throughout camp. That's not just wideouts and DBs, but also pass rushers and offensive linemen. One of those pass rushers, Jonathan Cooper, Sidney.
Yeah, Phil. Jonathan Cooper talked to us after practice today, and he kind of explained all of the procedures that he had on his heart earlier this offseason in May. He said that something popped up on his EKG pre-draft and then had to have 3 heart procedures, which honestly, they sounded really serious. He said he was under for about 8 hours. But he said he's doing great now. He worked with Coach Lando over the offseason, worked with him on conditioning and kind of adjusted to the altitude, but said he's doing great now. He feels good to be out there. He said he's giving 110% as of now.
It was scary at some point because it was pretty rare what was going on, and the doctors had a hard time getting in there and taking care of it. There was even some talks of a pacemaker at some point, but thank to God I'm here. My family supported me. The doctors did an amazing job, and I'm just blessed to be out here.
Great to see Cooper out there, especially since he missed the entire offseason program. Glad that he's healthy. He said maybe they had to put a pacemaker in there. That would have been a really a terrible situation there. Aric, how do you feel about this Broncos pass rush unit? All the attention goes to Von Miller and Bradley Chubb, but what's behind them?
Well, you do have to start with Von Miller and Bradley Chubb because we have to make sure they're both healthy and ready to go. Obviously, Bradley Chubb did a lot more today than he had been doing. That was a great sign. We expect Von Miller to come back the way that he has been based on a quick first step in training camp. But as you mentioned, kind of a mystery behind that. We know Malik Reed, and I was really impressed with the way that Coop played today. Had some tackles for loss, would have had a sack probably. So he might be the leading guy in my book, Phil, to take that 4th edge rushing spot. But you can't forget about Derrek, Tuszka, a couple other undrafted guys in that mix. And then you wonder if nobody kind of identifies themselves there, do you go after a veteran once you make these initial roster cuts? We'll have to see, but you're right. They need a 4th guy. They've got to find somebody. I kind of think Jonathan Cooper could be that guy.
Could also be Tuszka, right?
Yeah, Phil. I think a lot of people forget about Derrek Tuszka. He's heading into his 2nd season now. Seems like he's a lot stronger out there. He mentioned that he's leaps and bounds ahead of where he was last season, and I think that's a lot to do with, OTAs, minicamp, feels more comfortable with this defense. 2 things, really he didn't get last year because of COVID. And like Aric mentioned, you got Von and Bradley, 2 guys that he can really pick through their brains after practice every day.
About every time I come off the field, I have to come over to one or the other and just pick their brains because they're two of the best to play that position. So it would be a waste not to use them and get all the knowledge that they have. So any keys, any pointers, any tricks, tips, anything like that from Bradley and Vaughn, I'm going to take advantage of it for sure.
Yeah, Derrek Tuszka, another guy who could be in the mix, looking a lot bigger now also in year 2 in the NFL. Let's wrap things up, Eric, like we like to do with injuries.
Yeah, Phil, a lot of guys missed practice on Tuesday. KJ Hamler, probably the biggest name. He missed practice due to COVID protocols. Possible he could be back as early as Wednesday, but Vic Fangio wasn't quite sure. Nothing too serious, it sounds like, from the rest of the guys, but a couple people did go down during practice. Deion Sizer, a defensive lineman, had a hamstring issue, and then Cody Conway, a tackle, got carted off with a knee injury. There's already some reports out there that it could be feared to be an ACL tear, so we'll have to see. Obviously wishing Cody the best. Both of those happened during some one-on-one drills, but everybody else hopefully getting back to it, and we saw Jamar Johnson return off the reserve COVID-19 list, so good to see him back out there.
Never want to see the cart out, especially the first day in pads, but for the most part the guys were being pretty smart, with the increased physical level. All right, that's going to do it for us. Day 6 of training camp here, another day in pads on Wednesday before another day off on Thursday. Day off, so you guys know about those, right?
I don't get that.
All right, that's going to do it for us. For Sidney Jones and Aric DiLalla, I'm Phil Milani. This has been Broncos Camp Daily.